Hello everyone, I am Cheri and this is my week 4 whole food plant-based eating check-in. So I have lots of stuff to share. Got my notes, lots of notes. Can you read them? I probably won't be able to really read them either. I have lots of things to share. This week's been a really good week. Today is officially 30 days of eating no animal protein, whole food, plant-based, vegan, if you want to say that, but really it's whole food, plant-based eating. And I've been moving or walking, so exercising, and I have a lot to talk about that because this week I had a lot of firsts. First time, so I'll share my first time ever having a fresh mango. I know you guys probably think I'm crazy. Never ate a fresh mango. I always had them. I bought some frozen mangoes to try to make smoothies. I've had dried mangoes in the past, and a fresh mango tastes nothing like any of those. I was never really a big fan, and the first one I had was absolutely delicious, and I'm like, why did no one tell me about these? So that was the first, but then I gotta tell you, the second one I got at Meijer. First one I got at Aldi. The second one I got at Meijer, and it was so good. It was so good. So juicy and delicious. But the second one I got at Meijer and it wasn't as good. So I don't know. I'll have to learn about like fruit and picking my ripeness. Because that's all a new thing for oddball things like that. So that was a first, right? Okay, I know you guys think that's silly, but you know, hey, trying new things. The other first is I had one day where I got over 12,000 steps. I did 3 walks that day. Now, obviously I can't do that every day. I think today is, let me check. I think today is, before when I started, I was just walking. I was trying to walk like every other day if I could, but today is 10 days in a row that I've walked. I do at least, we have like a little circle down to the lake, to Lake Michigan. I can do that. That's about a 1.3 something miles. I found a few other routes where I can, and I could add in more when I just do a walk, but usually one of the kids will go with me. And right now we're done with school, so that makes it easier. I can kind of fit it in when I can. I've walked in the rain. I haven't had to walk in the rain this week, which is nice because I would prefer not to do that. But there's something really kind of nice about that too when it's raining out. But anyway, so that's a first for me. And it's kind of a big deal. Like I've never had, I think aside from when we did like renovations, I don't know if any of you like stumble unless you don't know me, but I used to have like a studio, an art studio where we painted stuff. When we did reno to that, I think I probably, I worked my butt off. So I would imagine that I probably got that many steps, but on average, I never had much over 3,000 steps in a day, because the place here is so small. Like for me to go walking around here in the house, it's teeny tiny. It's like 1,000 square feet, and it's just a few steps to the kitchen and a few steps to the living room, if you want to call it that. So I'm not getting steps in, even though I'm in the house walking around doing things. So that was a big deal to get that in. But I want to talk about, and maybe I'll talk about, let's see. Oh, okay. Let me talk about triglycerides, because I shared last week that I went in for the non-fasting lipid test that they did for the health risk assessment. My triglycerides were like 393. So 1 week later, I went for the fasting, and I had someone suggest to me drinking like lemon water in the morning, and hey, if it'll help, I don't know. I have not studied any science behind that. Someone suggested it, said it worked for them, so I was doing that up until the test, and obviously I've been walking more, so physical activity, as I've been digging into what like triglycerides are, and it's obviously my liver kind of in shock a little bit, because it was fine in the hospital when I was there, and then once I went on the diet, it spiked. And next week I go to the doctor, so I'll be able to talk to him about that. But anyways, the fasting, all of my numbers looked fabulous for the lipid, except for the triglycerides are still elevated, and they were 208. So in 1 week, they went from 393. Now again, that was not a fasting lipid panel, to 208. So we'll see. I would assume he's probably going to want to recheck that. We'll see how that goes. I'd like to, from what all I'm learning, I want to get that under 150. But anyways, that's another thing that's obviously went down. Here's a big thing. yeah, a big, smaller thing. I've officially lost 20 pounds. I'm at 211 now. So, and obviously the 1200 or 12,000 step day probably contributed a little bit to that. And I was curious to see if I'll keep it off. And I've stayed stable. The last 2 days I've stayed at that 211. So far, I keep waiting to, like, you know, gain a little bit, and then because that used to be a thing for me. I don't know if any of you have had that, like, where even when I was watching previous to this, watching what I ate, you know, I'd lose some weight and then I'd gain a few pounds, and then I'd lose some weight and I'd gain a few pounds, and I'm sure it depended on what I ate. Now, let me share this. I want to talk about, and I have this in my notes. I have mosquito bites. Sorry if I'm, like, itching, digging at myself. That's wonders of living in the woods. I mean, it's a plus and a, you know, it's a negative, but I'll take it. I'll take the mosquitoes just because of where we live. But anyways, I know I've talked about feeling full and not being hungry. Now, and then, like, talking about this weight, the weight fluctuation, you know, I haven't had any of that. It's coming down and it's staying stable. I want to talk about what I'm eating. Now, when I know if someone was to have told me this before, like, go, you know, plant-based. And some people, if you stumble on this, or any of my friends and family watching this, you're like, well, she got scared into, you know, went to the hospital, got scared into doing this, and she's doing this. I can never do this. I can never do this. You got to understand that I would have been the person before that said, no way in hell would I do something like this. Honestly, wouldn't give up my meat. That's insane. Give up chicken and beef. I'll just get me some grass-fed, lean stuff. It'll all be good. I'll go get that organic stuff. It'll all be good. Now, hear me out on this. I want you to really honestly hear me. I'm 30 days in. Now, the doctor initially said, if you can, cut back. And the reason that he's saying cut back on the meat is because of the cholesterol. It's not good for, you know, I don't care. It doesn't matter if it's low cholesterol. The cholesterol in the meat and the protein in the meat. If you get this book or watch Forks Over Knives, and I'm still digging through this, the China study, guys, you're gonna be like, what have I been doing to myself? But hear me out on this. I am not limiting my calories. So if I want to eat, I eat. I eat as much as I want until I'm full of the foods that are whole food, plant-based. Now, mind you, I'm still adding in a few things here and there. Like, I'll have, and if you want to follow me, I'll have a page here before long. Well, I already have it, but I haven't, like, put anything on it, for Bants on Plants, and on Facebook. And then on Instagram, I've been posting some of the food that I've been eating and taking pictures on my walks. And if you want to follow along on that, it's Bants on Plants on Instagram, on the Instagram platform, Bants on Plants. But anyways, if like in the morning, I'm having a waffle, guys, or more, like more than one. Generally only one, because it fills me up. And I usually dump a ton of either bananas or cooked apples with cinnamon and pure maple like syrup on top of it. So you're like, what? Right? I eat as much of that as I want until I'm full. I can do the same thing. Oatmeal's fabulous. Oats with a bunch of berries. You could do a breakfast bowl of a whole shit ton of fruit, guys. And you can just eat as much as you want of the whole food, plant-based, no animal protein. And I'm not doing any oil, or very little. But like I said, there's sometimes I'll have sprouted grain bread, which is not, it's kind of like a not as good for you. I'll do whole corn tortillas, which are the bomb. Those things are so good. We'll do that when we do like fajitas, or I'll do fajita bowl. A lot of times I don't even put it in it. I just eat it alongside of it. So I'm eating as much as I want until I'm full. So no limit on calories. So all of you out there, and I know, like, on keto, some of those things you can kind of do the same thing. If it's a certain kind of food, you can eat as much of it as you want. But I want you to hear me, because I was scrolling through my Facebook, and I don't want to call anybody out here, but there was a whole thing about mindset, and it was about motivation versus discipline. And everybody has this, and I could be wrong. I don't want to be preachy, but I think everybody has this misconception of discipline. Now, obviously, you have to get up and eat the food, and you have to, like, if you want to move, you have to move. But I'll tell you, just eating the food, this is where I'm going. I was not like a person to, like, I obviously talked about this before. I was always an active person, but before, even when I would eat on those other diets, I still didn't have the energy to move. So it was a discipline thing, not motivated. You got to make yourself do it. Let me tell you, 30 days in with this, you want to do it. I am not shitting you. You want to move your body. You don't want to sit on the couch. You want to go do something. I am not making this up. It really is happening for me. And it's not a mindset thing, because I know everybody will say, well, you know, you're thinking you want to be healthy, and so you're doing that. That's not it. My body wants that because of what I'm eating. And there's a study, and it goes along with this book. There's a study they did with rats on casein, which is a milk protein, and the lower casein lower casein diet that they gave to these rats versus ones that had a higher diet. I think it's 5% and 20%. So they're getting a lower protein, animal protein, which is the casein, which is milk, more or less, dairy product. Those rats observed, given like an exercise wheel. Now, mind you, I know I'm not, whatever, I'm just telling you, and I'm proof of it because it's working. That's happening to me. They gave them an exercise wheel. The rats that had the lower casein percentage voluntarily exercised, where the other ones didn't. So what that says is, if you eat a lower animal protein diet, now you can say, well, Cheri, that's casein, it's not even a whole protein, it's not meat, whatever, take it for what it is. I just know that that's what the study says, and I know that that's what I'm seeing. Now, you could also say that I'm, making that in my head, but I'm not. It really is an instance where once I eat and I have all this energy, and it's not coming from coffee. I don't know what time it is right now. It's 10:46. I wish I could show you. 10:46. I used to drink like 4 cups of coffee a day. I'm going to show you. I'm just going to show you because you need to see this. I could not function without caffeine. It was not a possibility. I'm getting up now, eating, going on my walks generally in the morning, usually with my son. I'm going to turn this down. You're going to see my desk, which is, I don't know if you can see this. Okay, hold on. I want to spill. Okay, that's my cup, right? This is, Darren got me this nice little insulated Yeti. I haven't even had a quarter of that coffee. Not even a quarter. And I'm like I have so much energy. Somebody would think I'm taking diet pills or something. And it's the food. All I've had this morning was we make, on Saturdays, I make the waffles. Darren actually helps me. So we make waffles for the week. Sometimes towards the end of the week like this, I'm out, so I'll have oatmeal. But this morning I still had some waffles. They are pumpkin pancakes that we turn into waffles. And then I had banana on it with some maple syrup. That's what I've had so far. I haven't had even a snack yet. I'm completely full. I'll need to eat some lunch before long, or at least have a snack before long. But I'm just like, I could go keep walking. That's the other thing. On the day that I did the 12,000 steps, I could have kept going. So I don't hit a wall. And I think the other thing I want to suggest for anybody that's like, I want to know more, or maybe you don't. Maybe you're like, shut the hell up, Cheri. You're just like going off. Okay. Another video besides Forks Over Knives is Game Changers. And it's about athletes going plant-based, and you have to watch it because there's a guy, I'm not even gonna tell you, but you have to watch that too. So if you have some time this weekend and you can't find anything to do, first watch Forks Over Knives, then watch Game Changers. All right, so there's that. So officially 30 days, mindset. So motivation versus discipline. I think the thing is, it starts with the food. So the energy that you're putting in, it makes sense, doesn't it? Like if you, the quality of gas you put in your car is if you don't put the right gas in, it's not gonna run right. Well, I think that, I don't want to say that I found the magic pill, but I'm 30 days in and I'm pretty much sold. I'm not looking back. This is not a diet for short term just till where I start to feel better and I lose weight. I think this is the long haul. And I would have never thought that before. I would have never ever thought that. Okay, but we'll see. Again, I'll keep you posted week by week. So, I've had a lot of, I haven't read this yet, but I started following Mastering Diabetes. It's Cyrus Kambata and Robbie Barboa. I got on their free group, started looking at them too. They're plant-based, whole food plant-based. Both of them are type 1 diabetic, and it's astonishing what they've done with the amounts of carbs, high carbs that they're eating, being that, they're insulin dependent, always will be for the rest of their lives because they're type 1. But I'm kind of digging into some of really it's Cyrus. He has a PhD in nutrition. He did a lot of research because of him having type 1, going on a plant-based diet, and having major success. So I got this because it's primarily focused for people with diabetes. And but it's interesting because in their group, in the free group, because they have coaching and stuff like that, a lot of the people will be like, it's so hard to do this. It's so hard to eat plant-based. And I try, and then I fail. So this is my thought. Now, the doctor, he initially told me, try to cut out some. I think moderation is death. I think with this, if you give it 30 days like I have, where you're just all in, and you limit very little to no oil, so low oil, you're still gonna have some fats in your food, but no added oils. Try to keep any of the refined stuff out of your diet. I think you're gonna, I in my heart, I know how I feel. I think those people that are really struggling with it are not fully committed. So they're cheating a little bit, if you want to call it that, or they're eating those things that are more high in, or they're eating some animal proteins or some oils. And I think then you end up battling that because your body starts to get better, and then you give it something that it's like, oh, here we go again, and then it has to reset itself. So then you end up playing that game. So, but I want to address one quick thing. Let's say you go keto and you have prediabetes, or you're type 2, and you can bring your sugars down, you can lose weight. That does happen. But I'm kind of feeling in this world, in this like little plant-based whole food diet world, a lot of people don't want to call it out. They don't want to say, well, it works. It does work to, because you're limiting your carbs, which then you're not getting spikes in your insulin. But long term, it's going to kill you. I mean, we're all going to die anyways. So that's my theory there. But you're going to end up playing the roller coaster ride. And where you do the diet, you get off the diet. You have to do it all over again. You do the diet, you get off the diet. And I can almost guarantee, that diet will never give you the energy like I'm feeling, sitting right here feeling today. But it's bad for you internally. That's just it. There's so many studies again and again and again with the high fat, high protein. It's just not good for you. It's not good. It's not good internally for you. Okay, so that's my, okay, there's that. So then, one other thing, one last thing. We're 17 minutes in. I need to kind of cut it off. That I want to share is we got an air fryer. And I don't think I talked about this. I don't think I talked about this last time. But we got an air fryer, and it's really awesome. Honestly, it's really funny. I put my notes here. I don't know if you can see what this recipe is. Vegan air fryer tofu nuggets, no oil free. They're actually really good. They get a little chewy if you let them sit, because I made them last night in the air fryer, and then with some organic ketchup. They were actually pretty good. I kind of like tofu. This is kind of like a snack for me. Don't have tons of it, but I put it in stir fries and stuff. So anyways, air fryer, it's amazing. So even if you're not following this diet, you need to get one, because those things are just amazing. I wish I would have got one sooner, because it doesn't heat up the house like the kids, because I will tell you. Oh, one other thing I want to talk about is I'm not always like, hey, like right now I'm in a good mood, I'm super happy. I have found though in the last 30 days, I still am moody. So that hasn't went away. So just know that it's not perfect in terms of, and maybe that'll change as I do more exercise. But I think for all the ladies out there, like again, like I shared before, I had a hysterectomy, so I don't know where I'm at in the menopause cycle, but I think I still kind of hormonally cycle because I get grumpy, and you know what I'm talking about. You get grumpy. So that still happens. You still get grumpy. So that's not going to go away. But I just feel so much better, guys. I just feel so much better. So next week I will have some more news, because we'll see how I go. Another week we'll see like activity, if I can keep going, with the walking seems to be working. I think Carson and I think we are, that's my oldest son. I think we are going to maybe look at, joining a gym maybe. So I've kind of dug a little bit more, and I think I found one that we're going to maybe look at. And then I have my doctor's appointment late next week. So hopefully I'll have some results to share and see what he says about that. So if any of you have any questions or any tips for me, I'd love to hear it. But if you have any questions, and again, I will share the Facebook page, and maybe I'll post this on there and share this onto my regular page. So if you want to give me some, I'm not even gonna say it, give me some love there. And then Go over to Instagram and see some of the pictures of the food that I'm eating. Don't judge me because it's on paper. There's 9 of us. We don't have a dishwasher. I kind of use paper plates and paper bowls. Not all the time, but most of the time because we still do a ton of dishes. So I don't want any negative feedback on my paper usage. All right. Well, you all have a blessed one. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week.